If you had not been told some things are good, some things are bad, if you were living in a natural state of being, if you were not consumed by society and what society thinks is good and bad, you would see everything as good. You would figure out a way to see everything as good. But because you see some things as good and some things as bad, you are splitting your focus. Instead of seeing if you saw everything as good, you would appreciate everything. You would just be in this natural state of appreciation. You would be in this natural state of gratitude. So here's the trick. Be in a natural state of gratitude. Be in a natural state of appreciation, and then everything will form around that. And as you see more things as good, as you appreciate more things as good, as you choose to focus and write it down and put it on paper, what is good, what is great, what am I grateful for, what do I intend, as you practice this and practice this and practice this and practice this over and over and over again, day after day after day after day after day after week after week after week after month after year after year after year, your reality will be full of things that you appreciate and will have nothing that is bad. Because even if it was bad, the person that you would be living this reality would not see it as bad. You would see it, the good parts of it. You would see it as someone else's experience. You would see it as beneficial to others, just not to you. You would have no stress in your work because you would be so appreciative to be there. You would have no problems because the problems would just be opportunities, and the problems would just be messages alerting you to a limiting belief that you get to tackle. Yes. Had you lived in a third world country as a child and figure out a way to get into a Western culture, you would see things completely differently. You would see things you would appreciate so much more. And that appreciation would grow. You may not have a belief in yourself as worthy, but you would be ecstatic to be where you are. Right? And so you might limit yourself in what you could achieve based on how you perceived yourself, but you would be happy that you were living where you were living. You would be happy that you had a job, any job. You'd be happy that you had a house, any house. You'd be happy that you had freedom, any freedom. You'd be happy that you had abundance, any abundance. Right? Here you are brought up in a Western culture with all the riches that you enjoy, and you tend to focus on the little nagging things that you would never focus on if you had a different perspective. Right? Yeah. So now you see yourselves as churning through life, trying to keep a handle on your fears. But it is a limited way to go. That's a limited approach to life. We want you to see yourselves as the magnificent entities that you are, the magnificent creators that you are, and that literally, from this position, you can create anything you can imagine. And the key to that is feeling good. And the key to feeling good is focusing on what you want. And the key to focusing on what you want is writing down a list of what you appreciate, a list of what you're grateful for, and a list of what you intend to experience.
I'm going to be doing more of that.
We suggest do a little bit every day. 5 minutes a day is all it needs. 15 minutes for meditation, 5 minutes for appreciation, gratitude, and intention, and the day is yours. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little reading, maybe a little nap, maybe a nice sleep, maybe not focusing on what is wrong, maybe no stress, release the stress, there is no stress, nothing is happening, all stress is self-imposed, release all that stuff.
I think I'm quite good generally at that. I meditate every day and I try to focus on the positive aspect, but I feel this sort of when the conditions are like this, where everything is perfect and it's easy to appreciate, I feel like it's given me a new benchmark to set myself against.
That you happen to be in this hotel and you happen to be in this place, and you happen to see the beauty, but the person that's cleaning your hotel room sees that every day, and they don't appreciate it like you're appreciating it.
I was thinking about this morning. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Thank you. That was very.
When Gary was on the Joshua cruise, and they saw the mega yacht that was parked out front, and he has always thought, the perspective of the person that is going on that yacht as a guest compared to the perspective of the deckhand that's cleaning up after them, they're both at the same place. They're both on this yacht. One gets paid for being there, yet their perspectives of this being an enjoyable thing are completely different. And the perspective of the deckmate is one of not having a good time until they get time off to go and do their own thing. Yeah. But they're both on this wonderful yacht, and they're both basically doing the same thing, both basically sleeping in the same place, both basically having the opportunity to appreciate what's around them. And sometimes the deckhand has a better time than the guest. It's just the focus of attention. That's all it is. And it isn't to make money or to be successful or to do anything. There's no other purpose of this other than to feel good and to have the ability to create a good feeling environment. Because as you feel good, your conditions have to reflect how you feel. And it doesn't mean that you're going to win the lottery, because that may not feel good to you. You don't know. You think it would. How many here think it would feel good to win the lottery?
I'd like to try it.
You believe that it would feel good. Right. You believe it would feel good to have a promotion or get this job or meet this person, but you have no idea. You don't know where the road's going to lead. All you can do is feel good and then realize that everything that comes to you is going to make you feel better. Going to make you feel good. It may be different than what you thought. It may be a little manifestation event here and there, but that manifestation event will, if you're paying attention, will cause you to look inside and see what you were fearing and what was wrong. Kate, what's happening in Paris?
Do
you know how many people go to Paris just to experience the beauty of that city?
Probably a few.
Yes.
I know. Believe me, I do see the beauty of Paris. I was just interested in your comment about the deckhand, because I was thinking as you were saying that, well, there's a person who wants their freedom, quote unquote. And it's just, I find it interesting that when we're at work, generally, the majority of us, we don't perceive it the same way we do our time, our freedom. And it's a pity, because it's a lot of hours in the day.
Yeah.
It's all your time, because you get to think anything you want to think. And the way you choose to think creates the reality of that time. And if you choose to say, I'm stuck here doing what I don't want to do when I could be doing something I want to do, well, you should either do something you want to do, or you should make that into something you want to do. Mm-hmm. Right? So you have those two choices. Now, if you leave going, I want to do only that which I want to do, well, you're going to find the same trap. Whatever that thing is going to be the same thing to you. You'll still be stuck in it. You'll still be used to focusing on a way that seems like it's robbing you of your freedom. You have this mental picture of what it would look like if you were doing what you want to do. But until you can have that mental picture, your reality of where you are right now, you can't leave that to go to some other reality. It just wouldn't work, right? You have to make where you are now into this place where you truly want to be. And then from that, things will open up.
One thing that you guys pointed out to me a while back was like the idea that when I'm doing these things, when I was at work and I was perceiving it as being limited or like I didn't have freedom, that I could, if there were things that I wanted to be doing, I could, in the moments when I'm on autopilot, when I have the downtime here and there throughout the day, thinking about what I want to do instead of thinking, oh, I'm stuck here, just thinking about the things that I want to do. And then the more I did that, the more I opened up to it. Like my kids just left I dropped them off at their dad's, and I got home and settled in, and I was like, freedom. And then I was like, wait a second, I already felt free. I don't know, because, yeah.
Well, that's what I was trying to get at, because honestly, I'm okay at work. I'm super busy most of the time. I generally enjoy it, and I think if I weren't working, I'd be in sloth. But exactly. I'm wondering about this whole, the deckhand who's thinking that same thing, and then me who tends to say, there are so many of us who think that about work.
Let's look at the deckhand, who is this person who's on an adventure, and they've created this birth of desire from their childhood, wanting to explore the world and wanting to be free and to go out there. And so they go out there. Now we'll have two deckhands. They both have the same trajectory. One is focused on what they prefer, focused on appreciation, gratitude, and sets intentions for what they want to explore. The other one just has this desire to explore the world, right? And so both of them end up being guided to this job as a deckhand on a luxury yacht. And the people that own the yacht are billionaires, and the people who are on the yacht are multimillionaires. And the people who are going on vacation or holiday on the yacht are there in leisure, enjoying themselves in the lap of luxury. And these two deckhands, one can say, I am stuck on this boat, cleaning this wood all day long in this hot blazing sun, not being able to go anywhere, only going where this ship's going. I don't get to choose where it goes. And the other one's going, I get to be surrounded by these wonderful people in this wonderful setting, in this beautiful ocean, on this luxury yacht, focusing in a way that is beneficial, empowering, and getting to take care of these people in this yacht. And you see that they both have the exact same experience, yet one has an experience of being trapped, and the other one has an experience which is probably more empowering and enhanced than the guests on that boat. Right? They're choosing a way to perceive the experience in a way that's either limiting or empowering. Now, the one who chooses it into a limiting, well, all they're doing is not enjoying their time, not feeling joy, not feeling good. Yet, even that is birthing desires for something else. Right? So It's still not a bad thing. There's still nothing wrong with that. It's just that all those moments between the time between where they are now and where they get to be eventually is going to be spent not having a good time. And the other person is allowing their desires to unfold, and in the meantime, looking at it in a way that's fun and enjoyable and experiencing joy. Right? And so one person's resistant, and that resistance is causing desire, and that desire is dragging them through life towards where they want to go. And the other one is being non-resistant, is enjoying their time, and is gliding through life towards where they want to go.
Yeah. Is there a chance that the one who's non-resistant will get to where they want to go before the one who's resistant?
The one who's non-resistant won't even care about that.
Right.
Because where they want to go is where they are.
Be there. Yes,
they're already there.
There you go. Oh,
right?
I got it.
Yeah. So the one who's resistant might get there, and when they do, they might not notice it because they're still so used to being resistant.
Or they might have to croak.
They might have to croak, and then they'll get there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or they might have such this desire for control that they become super wealthy and buy that same boat or even a better boat of their own. And when they're on that boat, they've bought it, they put it in the water, they take the possession of the boat, they meet their crew, they go into the lounge for the first time ever saying, this is my boat. They will still never feel as good as the person who was there just enjoying where they were.
Isn't that the truth?
I just want to add this, then I'll turn the floor over. I was thinking a little, just before the call started, about living 200 years ago and the sorts of jobs that existed then. And there really can't have been that many. I mean, there must have been farmers and a few shoemakers and dressmakers and stuff. But there must have been a lot of people unemployed and having nothing to do and having nowhere to find things to live on.
Well, the idea of employment was different then.
Yeah.
The idea of leisure time was non-existent. It was
Right.
simply survival. But some survived in pure joy, with people around them that they loved, taking care of animals they loved, taking care of land they love, living in a country they loved. And some lived in pure misery, doing things they didn't want to do, being confined, being limited, being told who they had to be. That part of it hasn't changed. There are always those who have lived in love, and there's always those who have lived in fear. It's just now there are more people living in love now. More people having something to appreciate, or realizing the appreciation and gratitude, or the things that pull you towards that which you want. Feeling good, non-resistance. Then there are the people who are complaining. There are still the complainers, but their complaints are so less important than they used to be.
Thank you.
Even those who are complaining now still appreciate things because they have information. They know what's out there. There are few people without access to information. And the more people with access to information can see what they have to appreciate, can see what they have to look forward to, can see how it's better now, no matter where you are in the world, how it's better now than it was 50 years ago. Just 50 years changed everything. Just 100 years changed everything. Just 200 years, it's non-recognizable.
Except for Paris.
And Paris has been the same for 200 years. Beautiful city of light. City of light. City of focus. Epicenter of the world. Who's next? Who haven't we dealt with? Who else lives in France? Anyone else live in France?
Nikki does.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi.
How's your corner of France today?
Well, it's gotten a lot better in the last hour.
Excellent. Was there a wobble coming in?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, a little bit of a wobble.
What was the wobble about? We love straightening out wobbles.
Waiting and longing for something that wasn't happening.
Waiting for something that wasn't happening?
Yeah.
What did you want to happen?
I wanted to hear from somebody.
So you had an intention to hear from somebody. Now, is that an intention or is that a goal?
No, I think it was an expectation.
Well, it could have been a desire. And it could have been a goal.
Definitely.
And if the desire manifested, you would feel good. And if the desire didn't manifest, you'd feel bad.
Exactly.
Instead of understanding that if it did manifest, it was supposed to manifest, and if it didn't manifest, it was supposed to not manifest. If it did manifest, it was supposed to manifest for your benefit. And if it did not manifest, it was meant at this time that it was not for your benefit to manifest. So,
it kills me because while I've been sitting here listening, I got the manifestation, so I got the message. But I spent my entire day kind of obsessed and wobbly.
Because you thought that you had this fear of how you would feel if it didn't manifest. And you had a fear of what that would mean if it didn't manifest. And all that would mean is that you would feel negative emotion.
Exactly, which I felt ahead of time.
Even though it was going to manifest. So the thing did manifest, but until it manifested, you felt fear the whole time, or you felt negative emotion the whole time.
Yeah, I was in and out. I would try to make lists. I tapped. I made lists of appreciation. I tried to find other focuses, but I would keep going back to the fear and the longing.
Yes. So it's interesting to say that imagine booking a holiday and you get this feeling of expectation because you know it's going to manifest. So you're excited about the idea about it. You can have fun thinking about it. You enjoy looking forward to it. It's this positive expectation that's going to manifest. There's no fear in there. right? Or there's very little fear in there. It's mostly these positive things that you get to feel.
Yeah.
And so that's fun. That's enjoyable. And then when it does manifest and you allow it to be as it is, it turns into this wonderful thing. But if you have this thing that means something to you, that if it doesn't manifest, that's going to mean something to you, then you need to take the meaning out of that. Because otherwise you're going to be dreading it up until the time it happens. Even if it does manifest, all that time is going to be focused in a way that is not beneficial.
See, I think that's very tricky because it's hard to see that thing as a neutral event. Like for my birthday, when I didn't get the birthday wish, I saw that as a neutral event. It didn't define anything. It was neither good or bad. It didn't really matter. But this, on the other hand, it's a lot more loaded for me.
Well, you take the bullets out of it then. It's your job to empty the chamber.
Right. How do I do that?
Because the only way it could be loaded is if you give it meaning.
Right.
But you don't know what it means. You have no idea what it means. It could mean what you think it means, and it could mean something completely different.
Yeah.
You just have to have faith that whatever the conditions are, whatever happens in this, it's for me. And so from now until it happens, I'm going to take the attitude that whatever happens, I'm going to take it. It doesn't mean anything if it does happen. It doesn't mean anything if it does not happen. I have the power of my focus to give it meaning. I am going to say that whatever happens will be the right thing. And then it does not mean anything about who I am in this universe.
I sort of did that. I sort of went through one of the things you guys said to me was, so what? So what if it's this or so what if it's that? And I was doing that. I was like, so what? Doesn't really matter. I'm okay. I'm self-contained and all that. But it was in my head, but it wasn't in my heart. I'm still hooked in a bit.
So humans
to specific outcomes. Yeah.
You have the fear of loss. This is a prevailing fear. It's a highly irrational fear because you can't lose anything. It's also irrational because do you have a fear of loss in this one situation?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you have a fear of loss, you think that without this thing in my life is going to be less desirable.
Yeah, less fun.
Less fun. However, with this thing in your life, it eliminates the opportunities for countless other things that could be more fun. So, if this thing goes away, then it now opens up this whole possibility of many other things that could be 100 times more fun. And then when those things come that are 100 times more fun, you're going to get attached to them too, thinking that, well, that was the only thing that's going to come as fun. I can't even imagine anything as fun coming as this. And then you're going to be attached to that thing, and you're going to hold on to it. And the more you hold on to these things, the more you degrade them. Because when it first happened, it was fun. But now that it's in your life and part of your life, now you cling to it because you define yourself through it. If you remove it from it, Gary has several people doing the one-on-one. Before he had anyone doing the one-on-one wasn't anything. Now he has several people doing the one-on-one. The one-on-one is a major thing of his life, right? It didn't exist before. It exists now. And so he defines a lot of the Joshua teachings by this one-on-one. And if everyone were to quit the one-on-one, well, the idea of that is scary because he's attached to this part of the Joshua teachings. But he knows that if everyone quit it, well, that would open him up to do something different. And so that he also knows that this one-on-one won't be around for very long. It'll be around for a limited amount of time. And everyone came at the same time, and everyone's going to leave basically at the same time. And so when they leave, this will give him, after this experience and this building and this intensity of going through all these questions every day, 6 or 7 questions a day, for months and months and months on end, working with people as they move from fear to love and transition from one vibration to another vibration, and then see all the things that happen to people as they go through it. That builds this foundation, and the next thing is born out of that foundation. He can't see what that's going to be. He has no idea. He just has to have faith that the next thing is going to be even more fun than this. And so he doesn't try and cling on or worry about, anyone staying around or whatever happens. He knows that the next thing will be bigger, and the next thing will be bigger, and the next thing will be more fun. And he changes every time. And so what's interesting to him now won't be interesting to him later. And what's interesting to him later, he can't even imagine from where he is now. So, in that inability to see the future, that inability to perceive how he's going to be, what his vibration is going to be in the future, he allows himself to just have faith and just go with it and just roll with it and not attach anything to meaning. So whatever it is that you're attaching meaning to, it can't be lost. You have it forever. You have the experience of it. You have what you need out of it. And if it no longer exists, it simply means you are a match to something different.
Yeah.
By holding on to it, though, you degrade it. And you make it not as fun. And you make the times like this not as fun.
True.
We didn't mean to be too intense
it's not fun to be in fear, that's for sure.
Yeah. And there's nothing to be fearful of. There is nothing to be fearful of. It's just an illusion. And fear creates this illusion of danger, right? That your life will be worse off if this thing is not in your life. And that is an illusion.
Right.
If it's not in your life, it gives you the opportunity for something better. And if you're in this allowing state that you are in, that you are all on in, you can just keep flowing, going with the flow, and keep manifesting things that are better and better and better and better and better.
Yay!
So that simply means that holding on to anything that's in your life now is limiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
As opposed to empowering.
Yeah. If you say, I wake up today and I choose to live in this home, live in this country, live with this person, be friends with this person today, but only for today. And whatever comes tomorrow is great for tomorrow. And if it goes away today, then I'm eagerly anticipating what's coming tomorrow. Because before I had my son, I had no idea what he would be like. Now that I have him, I'm very much attached to him. But I didn't know it before, right? And so the things that you don't know that are coming, you don't have any attachment to. You can't see how great they're going to be. This community
but I do have
created,
attachment to what I have today. I have attachment to my son, my husband.
But that son is a different entity tomorrow. And so when you wake up in the morning tomorrow, that's a different person. And you're a different person. And you can reignite that as long as you want. And you can keep that going. And that person will always be there. You're eternally linked to them. But one day that person is going to move out. And they're going to find another woman that takes their focus of attention more than you do.
Damn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Right. And then maybe they'll have a child of their own. And then this entity will enter your life. And you'll have this new attachment to something that you couldn't even imagine. You can't imagine it now. Right. So all this new stuff's coming. And change is always happening. And trying to hold things together is always going to be frustrating. Instead, just have faith that it's always working out, because it always is working out. And everything you need will come to you when you need it. Okay. It's a simple design. You're just trying to manage it.
Taking it way too seriously.
Taking it too seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. We have time for 14 more questions. Who would like to go next? Mark, what's happening over in San Francisco? In Northern California?
Having a good time. Went out dancing last night. Some Prince music. I had a great time. So let me see. I was thinking two things real quick. So the first thing was the idea about neutrality. But one of the first things you said was nothing's wrong. Everything is right. Whatever happens to us. So what if instead of neutrality, we adopt that everything is good, everything is right? And can you help me understand the difference?
Everything is right. If it comes to you, it's for you.
Yeah.
Everything is good in your reality. Mm-hmm. There are things that are preferred or things that are not preferred. you focus on what's preferred, then everything is right. If you see everything as right, if it may not be right for you, but it's right for someone else, everyone's opinion is right. It might be aligned with your opinion or not. Doesn't mean that they're wrong. Doesn't mean that their opinion is wrong. Doesn't mean it's not right for them. You can't see what's going on for someone else. You can only see what's going on for you. So, yes, the first words we wrote is there is no wrong, everything's right. There is no wrong anywhere in the universe. Everything's right. Everything is right. Everything is good. Everything is for you. Nothing is bad for you. Everything that you experience is for your experience. Leave everyone else out of it. Everything someone else experiences or other things experience that you would not prefer to experience is not for you, it's for them. Those things bring up fear in you because you believe that if you were to experience that thing, it would be bad. However, if it was meant for you to experience it, then it would be good. Everything is for you. It can't be bad for you. Everything is right for you. Have you had an experience in your life that you thought was wrong?
I've been better with not judging things that's going on in my life as wrong.
Right, but at a time in your life, you might have thought it was wrong, but from a perspective, an elevated perspective. And after a period of time, your perspective is elevated.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So in the moment when you think something is wrong, you can realize that, hey, in 20 years from now, I'll look back on this and I won't see it as wrong, right? So that means
maybe a month
that means that it's possible for me to see the higher perspective now. And if that possibility exists, then you can search for it and you can feel your way through it. And then if you feel a bit of relief, then you know that you've come into more alignment with your inner self on that subject. For instance, if you were you ever in a relationship that ended and you felt bad?
Yeah, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But going back now, you know that that relationship ran its course and you got out of it what you're supposed to get out of it, and the other person got out of it what they're supposed to get out of it, and you grew and you created desires, and the desires led you to where you are now with the relationship you enjoy now.
Yeah. But what about adopting everything is right instead of adopting that to be the idea of being neutral?
So what I've understood from what Joshua has said before is everything is neutral because it just is what is, and so it's only good or bad because of how we choose to perceive it. So adopt the perspective that everything is right because you get to choose how you see it, whether you see it as right or wrong, or you can also choose to see it as neutral. There are a lot of things that I used to see as wrong that I've gotten to a neutral place, and I can't, or I could, but if I focused on all the things that were right, then I might be able to see it as right. But now I'm okay being neutral on that. But the whole point is to feel good. It feels good to see things as right. So while it is neutral, you get to choose to see it as right. Is how I see it.
We would say if you can see it as right, that's a wonderful thing. And if you can see it as neutral, that's a wonderful thing. And some things you can see as right easily, and some things are more difficult to see as right. But those things that are hard to see as right, you can see as neutral.
Oh, okay.
There might not be 100% of the things in the world that you're going to see as right. And there might not be any person on earth that can see everything as right. Yet, everyone on earth can see everything as at least neutral until someone casts a judgment on that.
Okay.
And if you cast a judgment on something as wrong, the only possible way you could do that is from a state of fear. And sure, there are things to be fearful of. Right? You can say a plane crash is wrong. You look at the people who died and you think that death is a bad thing. From your perspective, you can see how people would say naturally that a plane crash is wrong and that there should never be plane crashes. But from the higher perspective, you can see that a plane crash causes a lot of things to happen, bursts a lot of desires, moves things forward that you can't believe. Right? And without this way of creating massive desires, you don't get the forward momentum that you enjoy now. And that airplane travel can radically change in the last 40 years to be much more efficient and safer than it's ever been before. And a lot of that is due to the desires that were created from plane crashes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kyla and Joshua, on that one. So the second one, real quick, is a little more clarity about. We had a discussion about urges, right? And I wrote a question to you, and you talked about. So I was talking about where, lately I would eat my lunch, and then after I would have a little urge to have like a little popcorn,
right.
Low salt, low fat.
Nothing's
popcorn.
wrong with that.
And then after dinner, a little chocolate.
Sounds like a great idea.
And then you talked about what's that?
That all sounds wonderful, like a great idea.
Okay, great idea. And then and then you talked about the urge, the urge on some level doesn't. I think you said something to the effect of it doesn't feel great or doesn't feel good. But so I go throughout my day, and I go with my urges with my food. Like, okay, what do I feel like today? And then I just follow my urges. And so,
okay. So we'll say that an urge comes from negative emotional state of being. Urges, compulsions, impulses, and inspiration comes from a higher state of being.
Oh, okay.
If you have the same urges for the same things, that's generally from a very mild negative emotional. If you were a smoker and you had an urge to have a cigarette, that's from a negative emotion, right? The urges coming from I have this thing distracting me that I need to do. I want to feel this way I felt before when I had last time I had a cigarette. I want to get back to that high feeling.
So you're helping me understand my question. So here's my question. I'll do it in a clear way. My question is, during the day, I will have either urges or inspirations to, like, maybe I want this to eat.
Right. But why would you want that to eat? If you were in a high emotional state of being,
I'm kind of listening to my body.
But why would you? Okay, so if you were in a high emotional state of being, if you were feeling great, would you want that thing? Yeah, I'm feeling. I'm usually feeling okay when I do it. Yeah. Or and do you specifically say which is the most empowering, beneficial thing I can put into my body right now? Or does it just pop into your mind? Yeah. I got to get some popcorn. I got to get some chocolate.
Well, the popcorn and chocolate.
Where's the popcorn? Let's get this popcorn going. Oh my God, there's no popcorn. What are we going to do? Let's drive to the store. I got to get me some popcorn. Right. I have to get popcorn. Your wife says, no, honey, don't worry about the popcorn. We'll get it tomorrow. I got to get me some popcorn. Is that how you are? So that's an urge. An urge.
But I have that feeling if I don't eat either. Like if I'm really hungry, I got to get some food.
Yeah, so we'll say that food is an urge. Food is absolutely an urge.
Oh, so food is an urge too. Yeah. So urge is slightly negative too.
Your body is saying, if you don't feed me, I'm going to die. You're not in a happy state of being when you're starving to death, right? And notice how when you're mildly hungry, then all the options are available. If you're starving to death, then whatever's in front of you is what you're going to eat.
Right.
So, do you need to eat at all? Or are you just used to eating?
I mean, for the sake of people around me, if I don't eat, it's not a good
But
thing.
if you didn't eat, right, at all, and you got over these urges of eating.
Well, I've been hearing you talk about that. We don't need to eat. We can get nutrition from energy or something. I've been hearing you talk something about that.
Well, once you believe that, yes.
Yeah.
Once you believe that, yeah.
I don't believe that.
Right, you don't believe it. And you might not want to believe it. You might want to enjoy it. You might enjoy this whole aspect of food, which is one of the beautiful things of coming to planet Earth. Some great food.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're having things that you think are good for you, like do you have urges to have vitamins? Do you wake up in the morning and go, I got to have me the vitamins? Where's the vitamins? Right?
No.
Well, that's coming from, I want to do something beneficial for my body, right? You have an inspired idea. Well, don't forget to buy vitamins. Don't forget to take your vitamins. That's an inspire. Your millions are coming to you saying, hey, it's time for the vitamins now. Your millions aren't saying, "Hey, it's time for the popcorn now. It's time for the cookie. It's time for the ice cream. It's time for the cigarette.
How do
It's
you
time for the
know?
crack. It's time for the heroin.
Maybe they
It's time
are.
for the whiskey." Right? Now, if you're in a positive, if you're out dancing with
really?
your friends and you're saying, "What would make this even more fun? Let's go out do a tequila shot." That is totally in alignment with who you're being right now.
Oh,
But
thank
if you woke
God.
up in the morning with a hangover and said, "How do I fix this? Let's do a tequila shot," that's an urge to fix the problem.
Drunkila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't you wake up in the morning with wanting a shot of tequila?
Who said I did?
He does
No,
it.
just kidding. No, okay, because I'm thinking I have a judgment that's bad. That would
No,
be
you
bad
don't
for
have a
me.
judgment that's bad. You just think that that's not empowering. It's not good for me. It's not going to allow me to be who I want to be today. It's not going to let me get through the day. It's going to make me feel weird. All these things. It doesn't go
right.
with how I feel about myself. Right? It doesn't match who I am. Well, if you thought of popcorn the same way you thought of tequila, it would be the same thing, right? Do I want the popcorn or do I want the heroin? Right? It's the same thing, and you could have the heroin. There's nothing wrong with heroin. But it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. So what is happening is your body is getting used to this item. Whatever item it could be. And it could be orange juice. It could be anything. It's this used to it, right? And by being used to it, you develop this craving for it. So that your body thinks, well, you haven't had it. We're not in a good emotional state of being. Let's fix something here. How do we fix it? Well, we could fix it with heroin, or we could fix it with popcorn, or we could fix it with a cigarette, or we could fix it with tequila. For you, popcorn seems to be the least invasive thing, and it is. It has no effect on you whatsoever. It's not good or bad. It's completely neutral. Yet that craving is the thing that you don't want, right? So if you can go 7 days without popcorn, you will get rid of that craving. The craving will no longer exist.
Is that what it takes to get rid of a craving? 7 days,
popcorn-
or is it
for
just
popcorn-
everyone's belief
For popcorn,
of whatever it takes?
That's
And
that's
that's
a great-
the time
popcorn
it
is
would
a
take.
mild thing, right? Popcorn there's no attachment to the rightness or wrongness of popcorn. Cheeseburgers might be another thing too. You might have cravings for cheeseburgers, and you might think cheeseburgers are perfectly appropriate. That is a normal thing that humans should be eating. But from a perspective of us, we look at the occasional cheeseburger as a wonderful thing, but a daily habit of cheeseburgers is not helping you get where you want to get. An occasional,
Okay, so by me telling you it's been a habit is what
the
makes
urge,
it
the
an urge.
Yeah, the word urge. That this is, if you have an urge for anything, if you have an urge to punch the wall when you're angry,
Okay.
that's a desire
so
to change your emotional state of being so that you don't feel this negative emotion.
Okay, so you know how everyone knows this. Like if you drank too much the night before, then the next day you kind of feel like some greasy food or something. That's your body telling you, maybe I want some greasy food.
Your body's
So
saying,
is that
what
an
I
urge
want
or an
is-
inspiration?
I want tequila, but I'll take greasy food because that's all you're going to allow. Right? I want heroin, but all you're gonna give me is greasy food, so I'll take that. Right? And that greasy food will change my state. I'll feel a little bit better because I want to get rid of this feeling of hangover. Yeah.
When I
wanna
have
fix it.
migraines, a lot of times my first urge is to fix it with a food, and the food doesn't fix it. But that's always my first urge. Oh, what could I eat that would make me feel better? And it
But
never.
the food always fixes it for me, though. If I drink a little bit the night before and I have that inspiration or urge for like maybe greasy food, it feels good.
Good.
So I don't know. I still maybe because I had some tequila last night that I'm being a little bit slow to understand the feeling.
Does
What
the
you're
food
saying?
feel better, or does it feel good? Does it feel better than where you were when you felt hungover, or does the food actually?
I don't know.
What was the greasy food that you had?
Well, I didn't, but in the
Why
past,
didn't you have it? Why didn't you have it?
I mean, I didn't drink that much last night.
So why didn't you have the greasy food today?
Because I didn't have that. Because I didn't have that urge
Because
or inspiration.
you might have had the urge, but you have an overriding desire to be fit. Right? And so you overrode whatever urges were coming up. Yeah. And so you were saying, no, I know the greasy food is not going to make me feel good. It may change my state, but in my overall idea of who I am, it does not fit within that. So I'm not even going to think of it. I'm not going to even allow that. Those ideas came to you, but you just brushed them off. They just fell off your back like water off a duck. And you don't think popcorn is a bad thing, and we don't think it's a bad thing either. And you don't think that chocolate's a bad thing, and we don't think it's a bad thing either. It has no effect on you other than what you think it does. And yet, you still have this urge. And if the urge is coming, the only thing that's a problem is the urge. And as far as that's concerned, if you can go 7 days, then you can experience what life is like without the urge. And then if
you're saying,
go ahead.
But for me to make that distinction between just being hungry and or listening to your body and having inspiration. So are you saying it's always an urge, like even hunger is an urge? So you're saying the whole thing about
hunger is
food?
an urge. Yes, hunger is an urge.
Oh, hunger is an urge.
Yeah. Hunger comes from a low emotional state of being. Your body.
Really?
Well, you're not satisfied. You're not satiated. These are high emotional states of being, right? So hunger is a low emotional. Starving a positive or negative emotional state of being. Starving to death, right? That's a negative emotional state. You don't want to be in that state. It's a natural thing. Your body is saying, I need food to get out of this state of being. And so you eat.
Okay.
Being tired is a negative state of being. So you have the urge to sleep.
Right? Oh, interesting.
You would prefer to be awake, but if you don't sleep, you're going to die. So the survival instinct kicks in and says you must sleep. Now, there's different ways of doing what sleep does, but for you, sleep just happens to be the way you do it. And so a third of your life is taken up by this process of sleeping, which in the future will be less and less and less. You'll find other ways to do it. Right. Yeah.
So if we're sleeping, do we use that as that an escape mechanism?
No, you go back and you process the density that is physical reality. We will say that you give your inner self and your guides a little break, right? Because you've gone through this 16 hours of life in physical reality, all these multitudes of emotions and thoughts and fears and joys and stuff going on. You can't even imagine all the stuff that goes on. Think of a baby. A baby comes from non-physical to physical, and the baby must sleep because it's got all these sensations. Now, the baby isn't really doing anything but laying there, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to work and arguing with people and standing in line and getting almost hit by a car and all these other things, right? They're just laying there. Everything's good. And yet, when they are hungry, they cry because it feels terrible, and they want to get some relief from that feeling. And when they are sleepy, they cry because they need to go to sleep, right? And when they're asleep, then their non-physical aspect of them sorts it all out, works it all out, and gets them prepared for the next day. And the next day, they start a brand new life all over again. And they do the same thing all over again, right? But yet at a higher vibration the next day than they were the day before. Everything's moving higher and higher and higher. So now the next day, they're able to comprehend or to take in more reality. They've built up. And by the time you're 90 years old, you're not... Well, by the time you're 50 years old, you're not sleeping like you did when you were a baby. You're not sleeping 14 hours a day or 12 hours a day or whatever it is. You're sleeping, luckily, 5, 6, 7 hours a day if you can. And it's not all at one time. So that's because you're processing the fears in life. If you had no fears, you sleep like an angel every night. Right? And you would simply relax in the evening, go to sleep at the same time, sleep all through the night, wake up like a teenager, and get on with the next day. With the stress, with the fear, with the resistance, there's more to be processed. It's more stuff going on there. Yep. But you're so used to it that it carries forth day after day after day. So reduce the stress by feeling good. Go ahead.
What I'm seeing is that the more I process while I'm awake, like my brain now is just constantly processing everything that's happening.
Brilliant.
And it's almost like computer-like.
Yeah.
In terms of processing what's coming up in me, processing everybody else's experience around me simultaneously, what it means for them and what that means for me. The more I do that while I'm awake, that's just how the more allowing I am of whatever it is, just allowing it and processing it, the less need I have for sleep. Like on the cruise, I was up all night and I don't know. It doesn't matter what everybody else thought, but like I was up all night, multiple nights in a row. And at the end I knew I was going home. So resistance came back in and then I had this huge need for sleep. And when we got back to Gary's house, I went to bed. I like hugged Lily and said hi. Like trip was awesome. And I went to bed and I slept for, I don't even know how long. I don't even know what time I woke up. I just slept and probably processed that. But
well, as an allower, you are flowing with the day, and as a resistant person, you are fighting the day. When you process your resistance as it happens, well, then you just get back into that allowing flow, and you lessen the intensity of the processing that needs to be done while you're sleeping. And so it's easier to sleep. Your dreams are nicer. Dreams are just the physical interpretation of what you were doing in the non-physical. You can't imagine what that's like, and as it downloads into you, you sort of get the feelings of it and then abstract those feelings into what is real, possible for your reality that you know. Yep.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
It's real and possible.
So we have had a wonderful time interacting with you amazing people on your journey from fear to love. We see that your vibrations are raising every day. You are getting more and more aware of your surroundings. You're more and more aware of who you are in this reality. Your vibrations are increasing, which allows you to think bigger about yourselves. Understand that each of you is as magnificent as the other. But the magnificence that you see in each other, because you tend to see others as more expanded than yourself, or more capable of than yourselves, or more something than yourself. They are no more than you. You are equal in your magnificence, and you can literally have or do anything you want in this reality. And with that, we are complete.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Wonderful.